everybody, and how are you doing today? So, special little segment we decided to start up. We want to optimize cyber dragons, and in doing so, we're going to try and use test hands and really go over like all the possibilities on what we're going to do. We are playing Dragoon in here because it does just really help push the deck going first, going second even, because it can OTK on its own at times when you pop two cards, burn, and then also attack for like 4k, because if you have to, you can negate your own Verde effect and then gain 4,000 that way to push for damage. Been doing it all the time in testing. But what do I mean by we tested all the possibilities? So if we are playing machine duplication, we tested mixing all the ratios with Naxter, Galaxy Soldier, and Repair Plant. Like we tried one Naxter, two Soldier, one Repair Plant. We tried one Naxter, three Soldier, one Repair Plant, one Naxter, three Soldier, two Repair Plant. We didn't go three Repair Plant because it's just going to continue to get brickier. We already know that. But we did that with one Naxter, two Naxter, and three Naxter, mixing up the Galaxy Soldier and the Repair Plant ratios between 2 and 3 for Soldier and 1 and 2 for Repair Plant. We covered all of our different options, and then we also did the 4 no dupe builds where either you play 2 Soldier, 1 Repair, 3 Soldier, 2 Repair, 2 and 2, or 3 Soldier, 1 Repair Plant. And we collected all that data, I guess, we put it together into 3 different categories. Category 1, how often did you make Infinity and Dragoon? How often did you make just Dragoon? And how often did you brick? Keeping in mind for this, the just Dragoon could also, there's a few times where you could actually make just Infinity, which, I mean, just Infinity is always going to be Dragoon as well, because you get 2 monsters on board to make your Nova, so you have to have 2 monsters to go into your Verde. So we kind of group just Infinity, just Dragoon into the same category. Keep that in mind. And then the bricks, we did this all under the, like, we weren't going to normal summon a hand trap for one of our monsters. Normally you can special summon, say, Soldier or Naxter, and normal summon a hand trap, go into your Verde, go into your Dragoon. So actually the brick percentage for every single one of these would be a little bit lower, but since, you know, we're just playing the standard hand traps, it's going to be equal across the board. So we decided not to count any hand where we had to normal summon a hand trap, since it was just easy to keep that linear for every single deck that we did. So let's start out with the most bricky ones. We're going to start here. So I was actually, keep in mind, we only did 50 test hands on all these builds because we have so many, and we actually did it, you know, physically by hand. So it took quite a while. But using hypergeometric distribution, we quickly went over a few things, and our numbers were actually within like 1% of a lot of them. Some of them were a little more varying, but not too much. Like between the 9 builds with machine dupe, we opened a dead machine dupe 7.3% of the time. And I mean, statistically, it was a little harder to do because, I mean, I broke it up. 10% was with our 3 with only 1 Naxter, 6% with 2 and 3 Naxter respectively. Both, it didn't seem to matter too much at that point. But just averaging 11 targets, because, I mean, here we kind of fluctuated depending on our Naxters and our other cards. The average roughly would be right around like 6.9% of the time you have a dead dupe. So we're only 0.4 off in a 450 hand sample. So again, like, I get that it's not, like, ideally you want to be able to do like a couple thousand test hands. We did 450 and then 200 without dupe. So I mean, 650 test hands without, you know, doing it, actually testing the hands, takes quite a while. So hopefully you guys appreciate the time we put into that, because I'm not smart enough like some of our friends at Hakuna My Data. Feel free to check out his channel. He is actually sponsored by Luxury Gaming for doing his statistical breakdowns, and he just had a really good one on the top dueling book players and the decks they play. I'll link his channel in the description below, but most of you probably already know him. Another thing that we went over was how often did we open Red Eyes Fusion? And opening a 1 of, if you play a 40 card deck, opening 1, you're 12.5% of the time to open it. And we opened it 12.2% of the time. So again, we're like less than 0.5% off on these. And like most of our numbers, if you actually go through and do the math on it, we're within like small amounts like that. Some are obviously like a couple percent maybe, as opposed to 0.5%, but they're all pretty close, and you can get a really good rough idea. But the most bricky build we came across in our small sample size was actually one playing no machine duplication. I know machine dupes the brick. I must be wrong, right? Well, there's actually a tie for fifth. So out of the 6 brickiest ones, we had 13 total decks. Out of the 6 brickiest ones, 5 of them did play machine dupe, and the other 3 without dupe actually performed really well. But let's cover the brickiest one. So the brickiest build played 0 dupe, 2 soldier, 2 repair plant, and I was a little surprised. I kind of figured that the brickiest one was going to be the 2 soldier, 1 repair plant, just because not seeing your extenders, because you have no dupe, 2 soldier, 1 repair plant. Minimal extenders would be, minimal hands that you get to hit your combo. But again, the difference between like first and sixth here was 4 out of 50 hands, which, if you do 1,000, this could definitely change and move decks up and down. It's hard to really say. The second brickiest deck played 3 machine dupe, only 1 Naxter. I do highly recommend, if you're playing machine dupe, to play at least 2 Naxter. It also played 3 soldier, 2 repair plant. I also don't necessarily, I'm going to contradict myself here in a little while, but I don't recommend 3 soldier, 2 repair plant with 3 machine dupe also, because while they are all extenders and they all help and they all do well, all of them require other cards, and all of them require the same other cards. Like, you need a baby Cyber Dragon to make any of those cards live. So by adding more of those cards, you're not increasing your chances to open a baby Cyber Dragon. You're just increasing your chances to open a card that needs a baby Cyber Dragon, if that makes sense. And by increasing the odds of a card that needs one of them and not increasing your odds of a card that, actually helps, you're actually just increasing your brick chances. 20% of the time, that deck was not able to put out Infinity or Dragoon at a minimum. The third, there was a tie between 2 dupe builds, one playing 2 Naxter, 3 soldier, 1 repair plant, and one playing 3 Naxter, 2 soldier, 1 repair plant. So they both were at 18%. We're starting to get to that point where the majority of these decks had 14 to 18%. So when I talk about these third and tied for fifth, keep in mind, like, it was 2 hands separating them from like the next 5 decks. Like, they were pretty similar and close, but these ones ended up hitting that 18% of the time dead hands. And tied for fifth were 3 dupe, another 1 Naxter build, 3 soldier, 1 repair plant, 3 dupe, 2 Naxter, 3 soldier, 2 repair plant. So things we see in common between these bricking builds is, well, 2 of them only played 2 Naxter, and 4 of them played 3 Galaxy Soldiers. So 4 of the 5 brickiest dupe builds played 3 dupe and 3 soldier. It's kind of proving the whole theory that Alex was actually one of the first ones to put it on the map and talk about it, and everyone roasted him, and it kind of gained a lot of traction. Those 3 soldier with 3 dupe. Is it bricky? Well, the majority of the dupe builds that are bricking are playing 3 soldier. 2 of them also playing 2 repair plant. Both of those were pairing the repair plants with the 3 soldiers, which, like I said, I do not recommend. So there we have our brickiest decks. And now, what decks put out at least Infinity or Dragoon the most? We're going to start in our 4-way tie for 4th place, and that was 2 no dupe builds and 2 yes dupe builds. So it's looking like maybe these builds aren't too far off from each other, and it definitely is a preference call. And that being 0 dupe, 3 soldier, 1 repair plant, the one that I actually play most common. 0 dupe, 2 soldier, 1 repair plant, which I was surprised by. I thought the 2 soldier, 1 repair plant, or never mind, I thought this is the 2 soldier, 1 repair plant. I hope I said that right. I thought that this one with the minimal extenders would not be there as often. But this is a 4-way tie at 88% of the time, making at least Dragoon. So 3 soldier, 1 repair, 2 soldier, 1 repair for machine dupe builds, or no machine dupe builds. Wow, I really cannot talk. And then the 2 dupe builds also tying for 4th. One played 1 Naxter. I know I said play at least 2, but this one only played 2 soldier and 1 repair plant, which definitely helped cut down on the bricking hands. And then the other one played 3 Naxter, 3 soldier, 2 repair plant. So basically maxing out on everything. And I know I said I wouldn't play the 3 soldier, 2 repair plants with 3 dupe, but if you are going to do it, play that third Naxter. It helps clear that extra soldier out of your hand. It gives you the extra dupe target, and it does get rid of the bricking hands because of that. So if you are going to play 3 dupe, 3 soldier, 2 repair, please play 3 Naxter because it will help you in the long run. The two-way tie for second, once again, 1 dupe, 1 no dupe. So like preference call, guys. They're both good builds. It's all 99% of the time Cyber Dragons comes down to the player and the matchup and less about the actual deck itself. So this tie played 3 machine dupe, 2 Naxter, 2 soldier, 1 repair plant. That's probably the most common, the most standard, the most ideal. And then the no dupe build played 3 soldier, 2 repair plant, which shouldn't surprise anyone really because you're maxing out on the extenders, missing the dupe. You know, your soldier, your repair, you max out on them. So 90% of the time that build could go into at least a Dragoon. And the pretty much standard for dupe builds being 2 Naxter, 2 soldier, 1 repair also at 90% of the time. What's number 1 then? What deck made at least Dragoon the most? Well, it played 3 machine duplication, so there's that for you guys. 3 Naxter, 3 soldier, and 1 repair plant. So by maxing out on your dupe targets and then also the soldier, because soldier can pitch Naxter, Naxter can pitch soldier, things like that, and then the 1 repair plant. Keeping in mind too, for this build we were playing a overload fusion, and once in a while we do use it as an extender to get into our combos and plays, and also Core and Emergency are 1 card Dragoons if you open 4 hand traps, because you just search your rev system and then go off that way. So there we have our at least Dragoons. If you are enjoying the video, make sure you comment down below, let us know. And otherwise, we will be covering like hand traps and how to hit what decks and everything, how many hand traps you should play, how often you will be likely to see them, and depending on your ratios. Another thing I do want to mention for this video, my no dupe builds, I usually play like 41, 42 cards to actually help see Dragoon or Red Eyes Fusion less as well. But just to keep it the same again, similar to the not summoning hand traps to go into materials, we just kept it at 40 cards even, just to make it, you know, the same. All these builds played 40 card builds, so that way they, well, try and get the most similar actions, I guess. And the cards that we just swapped out for like our Naxters and soldiers and repair plants, we just like pulled 1 hand trap at a time, or the 1 fear, and just switch them up that way to kind of take away cards that aren't otherwise going to hurt the consistency, just taking out cards to put in the extenders in their place. Now the part you guys are probably all looking forward to: what builds can make Dragoon Infinity the most consistent? Well, one of them did it 70% of the time. It could put out Dragoon and Infinity, and that's where I'm going to contradict myself if you guys remember that from before. But we are going to start in the 2-way tie for 5th. Well, one of these decks was actually second in it, well, tied for second for putting out at least one of them at 80 or 90% of the time, and the other one, well, it wasn't. Coming in at 5th was 3 machine dupe, 2 Naxter, 3 soldier, 2 repair plant. So if you remember back when we talked about the Brickiest ones too, this one was actually in the top 5 for Brickiest, which, what does that mean? It meant, well, you either put out both or you bricked. You didn't really get that middle ground. So at 58% of the time, it was able to put out both, which, I mean, you're playing 3 dupe, 3 soldier, 2 repair plant. Obviously, you got all your extenders in there. So your chances of comboing off are better because you have all your extenders, but you are also running those extra cards that do conflict with each other, and without adding in the baby Cyber Dragons, you're not actually helping the deck. The other one being the 0 dupe, 3 soldier, 2 repair plant, also 58% of the time was able to make both. 4th, all on its own, another no dupe build, this time 3 soldier, 1 repair plant, 60% of the time. The only difference was it bricked 1 less hand, and that probably, I don't have a record of all the hands, but it very well could have just been one of those hands where you open a dead repair plant, and that's the one hand that it bricked less, and at 60% of the time it was able to make Dragoon and Infinity. 2-way tie for second, because first place stands all on its own, 6% actually higher than second. The second place tie, 64% of the time, Dragoon and Infinity were able to be summoned. Both builds played 3 machine duplication. One played 2 Naxter, 2 Soldier, 1 Repair Plant. So the standard build for the most part. It also was the second highest for getting out at least one. So second for both, second for at least one of the least bricky builds. The standard really with machine dupe, if you're playing it, it's the 3-2, 2 soldier, 1 repair plant 64% of the time. And after doing this, you could definitely argue that this is the most optimal build so far to go with. And if you're playing machine dupe, it hands down is the most optimal. If you're not, well, then 3 soldier, 1 or 2 repair plant, pick one. They're pretty much neck and neck. But overall, both of them no dupe builds did fall just behind this one, at least as far as your opening hand goes, which we do preach that the dupe builds are most consistent in the opening hand, and that's just one of the preference things that you give up and you give and take when deck building. The other one was actually the number 1 deck for putting out at least Dragoon with 3 dupe, 3 Naxter, 3 soldier, 1 repair plant. 92% of the time they put out at least one, 64% of the time they put out both. Deck definitely is pretty darn good. This would be the other one where you would kind of depend if you want to play it. So 3 dupe, then either 2 soldier, 2 Naxter, or 3 soldier, 3 Naxter, because they help get rid of each other and they can be dupe targets. Well, Naxter can. So there is that. So what deck put out Dragoon and Infinity more often than any of these other builds in our small sample size? Well, if you remember, it was one of the 2 dupe builds that tied for 4th. At 88% of the time, they put out Dragoon or Infinity. 70% of the time, however, it put out both. Shouldn't really surprise too many people. It is the build that maxes out on your Naxter, Soldier, and Repair Plant. You're playing the most dupe targets, the most extenders, so obviously you should be able to make, combo the most. And yeah, so I mean, it bricked a little bit more than some of these other ones, but if you look at our tie for 5th, the 3 soldier, 2 repair, 3 dupe, 2 Naxter, 58% of the time made both. You add in that 3rd Naxter and 12% of the time more, you made both. That's because not only can you put out or use your Naxter to normal summon, like with a Hers soldier or with a soldier 2 lights, you have that extra monster that you can normal summon. It's an extra dupe target. It's an extra card that can pitch a card to put a free body on board. Like if you're playing these cards that do conflict, like we said, soldier, repair plant, machine dupe, where they all need a baby cyber dragon, you need to add the baby cyber dragons to make them more consistent and less bricky. So 3 Naxter makes sense. All of these builds we did play 3 Hers, 3 Corp, 3 Emergency, because I mean that's just kind of common sense at that point. So I think if anything, this definitely confirms if you're going to play 3 Soldier, 2 Repair, 3 Dupe, play 3 Naxter, please. And if you're going to play 2 Naxter, please at least play 1 Repair Plant. If you're stuck on 3 Soldier, play it. Otherwise, 2 Soldier, 2 Naxter, 1 Repair, 3 Dupe is the better build in my opinion. So that's kind of just the rough go for this video, talking about which builds and whatnot will make Dragoon Infinity most. I'll throw a couple samples, one of the dupe and one without, for you guys to check out here at the end of the video. And then I guess, yeah, so hand traps next time. We'll talk about meta matchups, things like that, and we'll continue to build. We'll probably take one of these dupe builds and one of the no dupe builds and work on building them together. Let us know in the comments below things and cards you think we should try, because tech choices will be one of those videos. So let us know, and eventually we'll hit side decks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, learned a little bit, and are looking forward to the next one. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. We do have some videos planned. I plan on picking up a bunch of Phantom Rage, and like mentioned in a different video, 1 subscriber will get a copy of AA Zeus, and we might do some other giveaways. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. It's not that hard. Yeah, take care.